Good evening and welcome to the new episode of Friday Night Flights. I'm excited to be here in front of you. Can you believe the last episode we did was New Year's Eve and it's already March 4th? I know I've been slacking. New Year's Eve, if you remember, we didn't even open any wines. We just talked about champagne and other stuff that we were going to be consuming that night, but we didn't actually drink any. This episode is actually going to be very similar to that because, again, I'm not drinking any wine. Believe it or not, look who gave up wine for Lent. So today is the first Friday of Lent, so I'm abstaining. But what I am going to title this episode is Welcome to Toy Town.
Welcome to Terry's Toy Town.
Yeah, whatever. We're going to talk about wine toys and some wine gadgets today. I'm going to just kind of take you through how to open a wine, or at least something, the best way to open a wine. A couple different options on that. What to do once you've got it open, etc. First, let's talk about the best corkscrew. Looking for something just like this. It's called a waiter's corkscrew. It's got the hinged lever here. It's got the screw, of course, and a little foil cutter. Perfectly folds up into your pocket. This one happens to be from the Golden Heights Winery in Israel. I had a relative bring me that, so thank you. Once you have that wine open, you want to make sure that it's expressing itself fully. And to do that, wine needs to be oxygenated. And to oxygenate wine, that's why we swirl a glass of wine. Sometimes blow into it like that to really bring out the aromas. Swirl it. Another great way to do that is to use an actual aerator. Now, if I had a bottle of wine open, I would just pour it simply through the aerator, into the glass. The aerator has a couple channels here that help air, oxygen flow into the wine as it's pouring through, so it helps oxygenate the wine as it goes in. It'll help the taste, trust me. Invest, it's only a few bucks for an aerator to oxygenate your wine. There's a million different versions of them out there. This is a Venturi. I love it. Once you've got the wine in the glass, here's something you may not have laying around the house. It's called a clos du vin, or wine key. This simple spoon-shaped item has a little dot of copper. It's a stainless steel spoon with a little dot of copper in there. This actually ages your wine. I know it sounds weird. First time I ever had someone show me, I thought, nah, this can't be true. Then I tried the wine. It works. Not on all wines, because some wines aren't made to be aged. They're fresh, they're ready to drink, and they're not going to age any more than they already have in the bottle. But picture this as a full glass of wine. You would dip that copper end in there. You hold it in there or swirl it a little bit. 1 second of contact with the copper disc in your wine equals 1 year of aging. At least that's what they say. I tend to think it's more like 2 to 3 seconds per year. So I usually hold that in there, swirl it around for about 5 seconds, age the wine in the glass a few years. What I actually suggest is you really taste it. You kind of memorize what that wine tastes like. Then you use the wine key on it and see what it's going to like. See the difference. This also comes in a handy pocket-sized version, just like this. I call it my little wine tool that I take with me to wineries, some restaurants. It's a great little fun thing. Now, once you have enjoyed your glass of wine or your 2 glasses of wine, we're going to stop there, right? And of course, you can't just leave that wine sitting out on the counter open. Putting the cork back in it doesn't always work. So, recommend you have somewhere in your house a wine pump. This is simply a rubber stopper that goes in the wine. Then you have a pump similar to this that you would actually use to pump air back into the wine, or to pull the air out. To pull the air out of the wine, so it's more like it was when it was freshly corked. You can let that sit for several days, even a week. Then when you go to release it, you just slide that, it lets the air out, and it pops out, and your wine is still as fresh as when you set it aside. Because we all set wine aside, right? Okay, I have to admit, I never use this because who really opens a bottle and doesn't finish it? Tell you what, it doesn't happen in this house. Now, I've saved the best wine gadget for last. And we are actually going to pour some wine. I can't consume it because, as I said earlier, but we're going to use, this is called a Coravin. This is how you pour wine from a bottle without ever removing the cork. It has a needle that comes through here. This clamps on the bottle. Let me show you with this bottle of Spiro here. You put it on there. You slide it down. And then, poof, that needle goes down through the cork. It brings air into there. And you can, in the handle of the Coravin is a little CO2 canister, which then helps you to just do this. And you are pouring wine straight from the bottle without ever removing the cork. Granted, if you were pouring an entire glass like this, it would take a while. This is used for sampling your wine. Something that, you're thinking, wow, I'm not sure if that wine is quite ready to drink. You put a sample in your glass, give it a taste. I'm going to hand this over to Lisa later, if she's good. Because I'm being good. But anyway, a Coravin, it's not a cheap gadget, but it's well worth it. This happens to be a Coravin Model 3. I suggest you go out and get one. It's great to be able to sample wines that are in your cellar without committing to opening a bottle if you don't know if it's ready. If it is ready, then of course, open it regularly. This pops right off. The cork has a little tiny hole in it that then seals itself. Nothing's going to drip out of there. You can store this bottle upside down. You can store it on its side. You can store it upright, which I never suggest, but at least store it on its side. I've had a few bottles that I used the Coravin on and then stored them for 6 to 8 months. When I finally opened them, they tasted perfect. They were just fine. There was no air that seeped in there to overage wine or over-oxygenate the wine in the bottle. So, just a few wine gadgets and toys for you to think about. I hope everyone's having a great New Year and a good Lent, and we'll see how this goes, right? Cheers and good night.